and that mill worker.
Unless you go with stainless, huh?
And the other thing is, maybe you know better than I, but because I haven't used, I have to be frank, even in the schools, we can't get solid surface in anymore. There's too costly, of any kind.
Yeah.
And so the issue is, but when we did an examination of Nevermore, Corian, and there was another one, Matrix, or something like that, the cost difference was, we're talking between products, 10% at the most. And so what I saw with Corian partitions is, yeah, the product is one cost, but making the whole partition and all that type of thing, that's a whole other cost. And so I don't know what we'd be even if we said we could substitute, which I can't say it can. I haven't seen it, but even if we said we could substitute a solid surface, would we save
Anything. Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole different trade. It's when you get the Corian partitions, that's a mill worker trade.
Could we come to a consensus that yes, it's a definite maybe, that we have the pricing for both, then make the decision later depending on what the total budget looks like.
Yeah.
Does anybody object
Well,
doing that?
I mean,
Well, we had to-
it's just
I have a
budget.
different,
I mean, yeah.
I think we should go with this, and I think the reason is, making the choice now to lower the cost will just give us more flexibility for when we run into unforeseen punch list kind of items that, you know, when you're in the moment and you're trying to get through something and then you have a choice and it's $1,000 here or there, you're more likely to just spend the money and get it done. And so I'd rather make choices now that, I mean, this is one of the biggest choices.
Right, and
15,
these
10,
were
12,
easy to
15,000.
grab, and these are the ones that, you know, kind of popped out at us, as this is something where we
Right,
can
you're not
save a
gonna get
significant amount of
any
money.
big numbers like that. Everything else that we get to choose along the way is gonna be, you know, $800 or something. This is big. This is- And so I'd make the
Yeah.
choice and say,
And we've done our diligence with this, going through with subcontractors, meeting with the tile, you know, with the flooring reps, and trying to find tiles that work and get things that are in the price range that are similar. We want you guys to get the end product you're looking for. I mean, and
the thing I'm raising an issue that's a bigger issue with projects is what I call constituent creep. And it's not the builders and, you know, architects, it's always the users who are the ones who give in a little more, a little more, a little more. You don't realize how many times you've given in to say, I'll take the higher cost one. It's the same thing that happens in consumer research, where, you know, people spend a lot of time justifying a small product difference, doing the testing, and it's not significantly different. So they justify it's worth doing. But you do that over 3 or 4 different little management teams and everything, and after 5 years, what you have is a completely different product than what the standard was. And people don't remember how you got there, but that's the creep. And that's what I'm worried about, is that the constituents will make more of these choices. All the choices we make will not be to lower cost as we get more into it. They will be to raise it.
Wow.
And so I'm just saying,
What we've done
make a
so
choice
far,
now.
Tom, is we made a lot of substitutions down because they've been better. In other words, they're not only equal to, they've been better. And in this case, we're taking a step down. $15,000 is important. I mean, $15,000 is a big item. However, over 30 years or whatever it is, this is something you use all the time. You're in and out of that place. Anyway.
I personally don't think that the partitions are the focal point of the bathroom.
Amen.
I think it's the tile, I think it's.
Countertop.
Okay.
Mirror?
I think it's the
mirror.
lighting bills doing it.
Expand that thought, it's not the focal point of the whole project. So it's the least important, I think, of the project, and therefore, that's where we should be able to save more money. And then focus on the things that give us the added value, the pizzazz, because those choices will come on. We'll have those choices, and, you know, in 2 months, we're gonna be saying, oh, let's go with that better thing over there. What a beautiful.
that kind of leads in.
Is the consensus then to
Yes.
use plastic?
Yes, amen. Move on. I think.
I'm not for it,
Yeah,
because
I
I
know.
think we're giving up much more than what the opinion is here now. But that's fine, the consensus really is that we're gonna go to plastic.
I think that the Korean is beautiful, but I have to agree, I was trying to picture what our bathroom partitions look like currently, and I don't know.
Well, okay.
And that tells me something, because I use that bathroom every day.
I've been looking at partitions in every bathroom. I have gone in, even in Europe. I've never seen corridor.
So let's let
And I
John-
don't
You've
like,
seen
I've
marble.
never seen corridor.
I've seen marble.
Yes, you have.
A lot.
You've seen
I've seen a lot of different metal colors, and, you know, what we're talking about, more of a composite.
Yeah, You
I'm-
recognize the cheap stuff, you do.
Well, it's not, no, I
Well,
would
this
not
leads
say
into,
that.
this leads
I've
into.
seen
Yeah, we
pretty
saw
much
you
some
already
bathrooms
done.
that
Pick and
I-
choose your battles, because the next item on my list is more something that's more visible.
Go ahead.
Okay.
That you
what's
might,
your
that you
next
might
item?
need to go with the
Please
plastic
go,
partitions.
please go ahead.
Yeah, I think Bill's gonna
Consensus.
speak up pretty loudly on this one.
Partitions.
Genuine plastic. we're gonna
The
use.
nano wall, changing to wood, drove the cost up. So the original nano wall number, we were able to furnish and install that. It wasn't a nano wall, it was a substitute, a similar product for $11,000.
What is it?
The operable partition wall that's going in between the
Oh,
library and the
yeah, yeah.
lounge.
Very highly.
The sliding,
Oh, the
The-
sliding.
the sliding wall,
Okay.
glass wall.
Yes.
Yeah, so that would change to wood, in the revised permit drawings, and that bumped that price up, to just under 20,000, so there's a $9,000 cost increase
I'm
there.
still not with you. Are you talking about the gathering room?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Between, the
to
library.
make that a wood wall
and the
is an
lounge.
extra $9,000
There's that glass
over.
partition wall, the sliding wall,
Yeah.
Aluminum.
that was originally aluminum, to be aluminum,
Aluminum.
aluminum
Frames.
clad, aluminum frame.
Frames, yeah.
Frame glass. Now it's changed to wood to match the millwork, casework flooring up there, and
Yeah.
that drove the cost of that up,
By.
$9,000.
Yeah.
Well, we just saved $15,000.
But that's the reason that we make
That's-
that choice.
Yeah.
Well, and
Because
also-
that- you're gonna run into these other things, and
And-
hopefully they're not $9,000 taxes, they're, you know, 500.
And we have wood frames, the office, the new curve is wood frames, and I believe the sanctuary has wood frames too. So changing this to aluminum kind of.
Detracts from the theme.
Well, yeah, it's breaking away from that, and it's just to save the 9,000 to go with that, you probably, to get into a budget area where everyone's comfortable, it'd be better with the
The
toilet
proposal is
partitions.
to do what? Go from aluminum to wood or wood to aluminum?
It went from aluminum to wood.
So
But I
we're
think,
saying-
I
drawings,
think
it's
I mean, I'm comfortable if we can, if you guys are good with the plastic partitions, I think there's enough savings there between that and then what we're gonna save with this to where we can get that budget down to around 800,000.
What is the design?
Well, I think there's two things, they're very accurate, we were all metal at one time and now we aren't. We're mostly wood until I did the drawings, and then we were all wood, because we hadn't talked about those doors. And frankly, there was also the discussion that changed because we weren't accessing the library the way that we had originally thought we could, and the village rejected that. So the operation of the quote-unquote movable wall in the library changed. We wanted it to be a patio door first,
Yeah.
and then a retractable wall second. At least that was
Uh-huh.
my preference to recommend to you. And NanoWall offered all that with wood. Now, what I did hit these guys with late probably is that there's NanoWall. I'm not married to NanoWall. What we're married to is the performance characteristics of this wall, wood, how it works. And even how it works, it could slide. I don't care that it's, but it should open first. I think that's important, because that's the way it's going to be used most of the time, and then retract at another time. So concluding is there's other manufacturers. There's La Cantina, NanoWall was the first to the table, and it's like Richelieu was the first to the table, and now I'm starting to see this stuff. And so, yeah, is there a few $1,000s maybe out there to be saved by comparing manufacturers? Possibly still, at this point. But I would recommend we stay with the wood to be consistent, the operation, because it works well in that facility, And certainly Nanowall is a good product.
Is it wood or is it this wood?
It is wood.
Wood.
That's wood, yeah.
So that's the recommendation, consensus on that?
Yeah, I think so.
That is, okay, right.
So see how we're making the choice, I agree.
Right,
But I
that's
agree
not-
because it's the higher value, higher order part of the project, and so those are the ones you want to look right. The ones that are lesser value are the one where it doesn't matter to a lot of people, people don't expect something of the highest quality. Those are the ones you make the choice on the cost, but you make the choice now, because if not, the 817 will be 835 by the end of February. And so if we make the choices now to get closer to 800 now, it may end up at 820.
Yeah, we're, like we always mentioned, we're targeting at 800,
Yeah.
right, to be right there at sub cost, 800,
Yeah,
so
and we
then we
need
have
help.
that $20,000 buffer in
Yeah.
there. Because once we start in the project, there's gonna be some change orders from subcontractors and things, we're trying to protect the budget against those things.
You're doing well, John, you have another one? Consider?
That's all I have for you today.
Okay.
Those are big ones.
That's
Thank
big.
you, those are good.
Those are very good.
Well, let that be learning, because you'll know every time you come to the meeting, you can't have more than 3. It'll just take us the whole
So we'll see what else I can dig up.
I do have one quick question for Troop and for Connie and Art, as long as you're here. So we cut our exploratory holes in the ceiling, and we were intending to be, in construction, ripping out the ceiling. And the fire marshal said, plug the holes, and we said we're gonna just take them apart. And now time keeps going. And one of our committee members is a retired firefighter, and every Sunday he walks in and looks at those holes in the ceiling and says, I know the building's not gonna catch fire, and I know this isn't gonna happen, but if it did, it's one of my buddies caught up there. What's the deal?
Wanna come by and patch those up? We're starting anyway, so.
Well, I
It's up to
think,
you guys.
how about the decision, if we do not hear favorably next week, that we say, okay, we'll go ahead and, do some kind of patching. But if we do hear, then would it make any sense? to
No, it
patch
doesn't,
it?
if we're starting to mobilize out here next week.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you make the decision now, then you'll probably end up saying, okay, let's go patch, but I'm just thinking we have, best case, 4 or 5 days to wait,
Yeah.
and
The deadline that they put on us, one of them was December, one of them was January, and now the end of January, so we're here. Do we wait another week?
This could be a last minute decision, so you can wait a few days and say, hey, you know what, we decided we wanna patch those. And you can call me up and
well,
we'll get it
okay,
taken care of.
then we decided we want to patch them, but we can't get to it right away, so.
We don't have to patch all of them, right?
But I guess the point is circular reasoning here, because we're waiting for them, but they're saying, no, it's taking too long. Well, no, you're the
Well,
ones.
the first order was to patch them, period.
Yeah.
And I'll take the blame for it in the long run. I asked if we could go through December for the gummy, and then I've also asked, and Frank has asked, can we go through January?
We should at least patch the ones by the office, because we're not touching those for several
Okay.
months.
And so they're worried about.
The sanctuary
ceiling
area
catching
and
on
down in
fire.
the fellowship hall, we're starting right away, so we can get by with saying,
Well,
well,
we
we
can
need those.
come by and
ones.
put a piece of.
So Brian, that's a good answer, and
Remain-
it's a good
remain
answer for
patch.
different reasons, which is, that shows good faith. We're
Yeah,
doing
we
the
had
right
the-
thing.
the-
What you have to do is
we
just
had
do those,
pieces
and they'll see that
until
you're
the
making
day
progress, and they'll go.
Oh, I got
Can
you.
do it
So we
tomorrow.
could have just walked them back in, tape whatever.
Yeah.
And,
Whatever you can do.
yeah.
The order's issued, go ahead and fix the one outside the office.
We were just talking
Yeah.
that since we're not really working in the office area until
Mhm.
April area, at least get the ones in the corridor on the west side.
It's not just one.
Fire
it's-
taped.
It's a
If
couple.
it's
Good, it just shows
There's two.
good faith effort.
Certainly, that's
Yeah.
easy enough for us.
That
The
would be
ones, the
really
ones
nice.
downstairs in the fellowship hall, over here in the
I
sanctuary.
haven't heard
we
worry
can just
about
leave
those, but the ones
Right out
out
here,
here,
oh,
yeah,
up and
up
out.
straight up,
Right,
yeah,
sure, I
those.
know. Yeah, the
outside
three, I think there's
Cindy's
three
office.
Yeah.
squares or something.
Yeah.
So a closing thought, now, Art gets to adjourn the meeting, but I just want to give you a thought, and it comes from cartoons that we all would remember. Wimpy. For a permit today, I'll gladly patch holes in the roof. Remember that one?
Yes.
Remember?
Yeah.
What about the narthex? I
That's
think
a
we should
good,
fix that too.
that's.
Yeah, that's what she's talking with these, or you mean in the other narthex, that one,
Yes,
narthex?
she's-
Yeah, so that one and this two,
Yeah, I didn't realize we had to, but the narthex on the east narthex,
yeah.
Ceiling.
and,
There's one.
and anything that's in the main corridor. Right now, I don't know if there's more than one, there's one
I
that's.
think there's two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so those are the three.
And we'll just, fire tape is just basically, we're not finishing the
coat.
walls. Yeah, we're not finishing the walls or anything like that,
Yeah.
it's just to tape them, to
Yeah.
abide by the fire.
Thank you, I
department's
appreciate that.
codes.
Mark, did you have anything else?
Yeah, but we don't have, it's not critical for today, and one, for sure, I know that.
Well, go ahead,
The info.
we got time,
I
go,
do.
go ahead.
So one of my requests was that I think it's time that we look at another, update on just where we sit on the budget. And specifically, I'm talking about the overall budget. So,
Committee budget.
landscaping at the architect costs.
We'll probably let Troop and the architect go, we can talk about that briefly. Is that right? Is there anything else you wanna talk about with the architect and Troop?
Did he read your response?
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want the architect and Troop here for? 'Cause